Hey football fans, have you ever wondered how the NFL went from leather helmets and muddy fields to billion-dollar stadiums and global audiences? Today we're walking through every defining era in NFL history. We're not just talking wins and losses, we're diving into the evolution of the game, the culture, and the moments that shaped America's biggest obsession. This is how a brawl of a sport became a billion-dollar empire. Let's go. It all began in 1920 inside an Ohio car showroom. 11 team reps sat around a table trying to bring order to chaos. What they formed was the American Professional Football Association, renamed the NFL 2 years later. There were no official uniforms, no playbooks, and absolutely no glamour. Players stitched their own jerseys, fans paid pocket change, and the average salary was about $100 per game, barely enough to support a family. The fields were rough, the game was dangerous, but something was brewing. This wasn't just the birth of a league, it was the planting of a cultural icon. This was football in its rawest, most unforgiving form. Players wore leather helmets, if they wore one at all, and face masks weren't even a thought. Games were ground battles, low scoring and brutal. But while the action stayed rough, the league was organizing. Teams started using official rosters, rule books were standardized, and a central office gave structure. In 1933, the NFL held its first official championship game, and fans were hooked. The sport was transforming from a local brawl to a national event. Well, the World War disrupted everything. Rosters were depleted as players enlisted, and in a desperate move, some teams merged just to survive. The most famous example, the Steagles, a one-year fusion of the Steelers and Eagles. But this era also gave us the Iron Men, players who didn't leave the field. Offense, defense, special teams, they did it all playing through pain and exhaustion. It was survival football, built on heart, grit, and an unshakable love of the game. As America bounced back from the war, so did football. Visionaries like Paul Brown revolutionized coaching, bringing playbooks, scouting reports, and even film sessions to locker rooms. The forward pass started to shine, evolving the game from ground and pound slugfests into something more dynamic. The 1958 NFL Championship game, Colts versus the Giants, went to sudden death overtime and was broadcast nationwide. Millions watched. It was dubbed the greatest game ever played, and it introduced football to a massive TV audience. The NFL wasn't just a sport anymore, it was becoming a spectacle. A new league emerged, the American Football League, with flashier jerseys, a pass-heavy style, and a focus on entertainment. The AFL threatened the NFL's dominance. Stars like Joe Namath brought swagger and attention, and competition between the leagues started heating up. Eventually, the NFL realized they couldn't ignore the challenge, so they struck a merger deal in 1966. A year later, the first Super Bowl was held. The NFL and AFL rivalry birthed a bigger, better league, and one of the most watched events in sports history. It wasn't just about merging rosters. It meant unifying fan bases, television markets, and rival football philosophies. The AFL's bold spirit forced the NFL to modernize, setting the stage for an explosive growth of pro football in the decades to come. What started as a championship game quickly became a national holiday. The Super Bowl grew rapidly in importance and production. By the 1970s, it wasn't just about football, it was halftime shows, celebrity appearances, and America's biggest ad showcase. On the field, dynasties emerged. The Steelers' steel curtain defense and the Cowboys' doomsday defense became legends. These teams didn't just win, they hit hard, played fast, and built legacies. Players like Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, and Mean Joe Green became household names. The Super Bowl became a cultural touchstone, where sports, entertainment, and commerce collided on the grandest stage. Enter Bill Walsh and the 49ers. His West Coast offense redefined football: short, precise passes, smart routes, and perfect timing. Joe Montana ran it to perfection, creating a dynasty with Jerry Rice. Meanwhile, the league was full of game changers. Lawrence Taylor terrorizing quarterbacks, Dan Marino slinging deep balls, and offenses becoming more creative than ever. Football was evolving, and it looked beautiful. Defenses had to adapt or get left behind, sparking a new era of strategic complexity. The 1980s laid the groundwork for the modern game, faster, smarter, and more explosive than ever. Football and television became inseparable. Monday Night Football became appointment viewing. New camera angles, dramatic intros, and booming commentary turned each game into a primetime drama. Sports media exploded. ESPN, highlight shows, and 24/7 coverage made players household names. The NFL wasn't just the biggest sport in America, it was the most watched show on television. The NFL expanded across the country. The Panthers and Jaguars joined, the Browns returned, and Baltimore got the Ravens after losing the Colts. But perhaps no cultural moment was bigger than Madden NFL. The video game franchise brought the playbook to your living room. Fans learned routes, schemes, and clock management, and kids grew up dreaming of being digital quarterbacks. Add in the Cowboys' 90s dynasty, Aikman, Irvin, and Emmett, and it was an electric decade. One name dominated: the Patriots. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick redefined success. 6 Super Bowl wins, countless playoff runs, and ice-cold efficiency. At the same time, Peyton Manning rewrote the quarterbacking manual with precision and brains. Fantasy football surged. Red Zone launched, and fans didn't just cheer anymore, they analyzed. Every stat mattered, every game counted. The NFL was evolving into an intellectual obsession. Rule changes protected quarterbacks and encouraged offense. The result? Points, and lots of them. Passing records were shattered. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes lit up scoreboards. Playbooks got more complex, trick plays became common, and defensive coordinators scrambled to adapt. It was fast, flashy, and full of fireworks, perfect for modern fans. Offenses operated like machines, with timing, tempo, and precision at an all-time high. Fantasy football exploded in popularity, turning every game into must-watch entertainment. Football isn't just on your TV, it's in your feed. A one-handed catch or locker room dance can go viral in minutes. Players become influencers, building brands and connecting with fans like never before. The league leaned in with Twitter highlights, Instagram reels, and TikTok trends. The NFL wasn't just a sport, it was an online phenomenon. Fans weren't just spectators, they became creators, using social media to react, meme, and celebrate the game. Live-streamed games, behind-the-scenes content, and instant player engagement transformed the way fans experience football. 4th and 3 on your own 40? 20 years ago, you'd punt. Now, the analytics might say, go for it. Coaches are embracing data like never before, tracking player movement, fatigue, tendencies, and probabilities. Every decision is influenced by numbers, spreadsheets, and predictive models. Even fans study metrics like expected points added and win probability. Endgame strategies are more calculated, with coaches relying on data-driven decisions for play calling and player usage. The gut feeling of a coach has now been supplemented by algorithms, changing how teams build and approach games. The NFL wants the world. Games are played in London, Germany, and pretty soon in Brazil. Fans in Tokyo wear Mahomes jerseys. Mexico has youth flag leagues. The league is expanding not just in size but in scope, planting roots and building fandoms in places football once barely touched. The global reach is powered by partnerships, international broadcasting deals, and the NFL's commitment to growing the sport beyond the US. The league is no longer just an American staple, it's becoming a truly international phenomenon. Today's stars aren't just athletes, they're advocates. From Colin Kaepernick's protest to players speaking on mental health, social justice, and equality, the modern NFL player has a voice that echoes beyond stadiums. Contract talks go public, trades are demanded, and brands are built with intention. The player isn't just a part of the league, he is the league. The NFL is now a tech-infused entertainment machine. Smart helmets monitor impact. AI helps generate highlights. Drone shots zoom into the action. And the Super Bowl halftime show, sometimes bigger than the game itself. But at its core, it's still football. 11 men on each side, clashing in a game of inches. The 2020 season was like no other. Empty stadiums, daily testing, masked coaches, and virtual drafts. Yet somehow, the league made it work. Games were played, champions crowned, and fans kept watching. It was a testament to adaptability, resilience, and the unshakable bond between football and its fans. Women are no longer just watching, they're leading. Sarah Thomas became the first woman to officiate a Super Bowl. Coaches like Katie Sowers and Jennifer King broke barriers on the sidelines. Women are taking roles in scouting, front offices, and broadcasting. Football's future is diverse, and it is long overdue. With legalized sports betting sweeping the nation, the NFL dove in. Odds on TV screens, fantasy apps blending with gambling platforms, and even in-stadium sports books. Betting isn't just on the fringe anymore, it's front and center. It's changing how fans engage and how the league makes money. Big hits once defined football. Now they're being redefined. As CTE research and concussion awareness grew, the NFL faced a crisis. Lawsuits, documentaries, and heart-wrenching stories pushed the league to act. New helmets, stricter rules, and better medical protocols were followed, but the balance between violence and safety is still a tightrope. The future is fast, flashy, and already famous. College players like Caleb Williams and Arch Manning signed million-dollar NFL deals before turning pro. Social media builds hype before the draft. These young stars aren't just athletes, they're brands, influencers, and future legends. The next era of the NFL is already warming up on the sidelines. So, from smoky locker rooms to stadiums with their own zip codes, the NFL's journey has been wild, unpredictable, and uniquely American. Whether you've watched for decades or just tuned in last season, the story of the NFL is still being written one snap at a time. If this video taught you something new, show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe for more epic sports stories, and smash the bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. More untold sports history is just around the corner, and you're not gonna wanna miss it.